Time now for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag Climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. And we've got about 2 more weeks of summer, Al. How's the forecast looking?
You're exactly right, Troy. Here we are, beginning of September, getting into the fall period. We are going to see temperatures that are going to swing both on the positive and negative side of normal. It's very common for this time of the year. In fact, it's very common for us to see several days of cool and several days of warm, and now extended long streaks of warm weather. So we should expect this transition to basically unfold as we would expect. The biggest question is, will we stay warm enough to escape most of the significant freeze damage that everybody's been talking about? I will have an update in Crop Watch next week, and I encourage you to visit the Crop Watch website to see what the latest statistics are. But overall, the Panhandle has decreased their freeze probabilities very significantly due to the warmer than normal August temperatures, and we're basically somewhere within plus or minus 5% to 10%, depending on the location of where the statistics lie in the 1st of August. So no real major changes. It does look like we've eased up on some of the frost concerns, at least for the western 1/3 of the state. More importantly, as we look at the upper pattern, we basically have a little trough that's moving through with a broader trough working into the western United States. So this should touch off some thunderstorm activity across the state today, as we have a low pressure developing in southwestern Kansas, bringing the Gulf moisture toward the north. The biggest interest is going to be, where does the activity itself develop? Most of it's forecast for the Dakotas, but I think we may see this slip a little bit farther into northern Nebraska. As we get into tomorrow, we see that trough starting to progress into the central Rockies. That's going to eject out some energy into eastern Colorado as we see a surface low starting to develop, and that will lift some warmer air basically up to the Kansas-Nebraska line and generate some thunderstorm activity. And then on Monday, we see this trough broaden out. Another piece of energy starts to shoot out into our region, but the main surface low looks like it will form somewhere into eastern South Dakota, and this will generate widespread heavy precipitation across northern South Dakota, southern North Dakota, and isolated in northern Nebraska. And then on Tuesday, this trough starts to deepen and starts to move a little bit toward the east. Another low pressure system ejects out in southeastern Colorado, and then there'll be another one in west central portions of Wyoming. This leads to moisture across eastern Nebraska, south central and southeastern Nebraska. And then on Wednesday, we now start to see this trough starting to open up. We see one more low pressure developing as it pushes out of this trough in the upper atmosphere at the surface in northeastern Colorado. Therefore, we would expect precipitation once again to eastern Nebraska, eastern Kansas, and points to the north. And then rapidly it starts to move up into the upper plains region as we go into Thursday. Very strong low pressure system forms underneath of this trough, and we are looking at widespread heavy precipitation potential and probably some flooding issues to deal with in South Dakota before this trough moves over to the Great Lakes region on Friday, brings a northwest flow on the backside of it, so we will see some cooler conditions start to work into the high plains region, including Nebraska, as we get toward the end of the week. Major heavy precipitation in the upper Great Lakes region, and behind this there does look to be some frost that will develop as far south as the upper peninsula of Michigan. Further out, if we look at the 8 to 14 day forecast, it takes us from next Thursday through the following Tuesday. Once that trough passes, we start to see ridging taking place into our region, and we see much warmer conditions developing. And with another trough moving in, we're going to start to see moisture ejecting out into our region, and will give us another shot of above normal moisture. We stay drier in the southeast. Further out, there are indications that some cooler air will start to work in as we get to the 3rd week of September, but at this point in time, no frost is observed for the western Corn Belt. So Troy, overall, looks like a very rough weekend in terms of scattered precipitation, and then things start to dry out as we get to the end of next week.